Hello, I'm Brent Gardner, and this is the NRA-ILA Grassroots News Minute for Friday, April 24th. Here with today's first story is correspondent Krista Cupp.
Thanks, Brent. This week, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit marked a milestone in Second Amendment history by ruling that the Second Amendment limits state and local government infringements on our right to keep and bear arms through the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. NRA has been involved in and supportive of this case for the past 10 years and has filed several amicus briefs in the case. NRA Chief Lobbyist Chris W. Cox said, "The historic Heller decision was a major victory for law-abiding gun owners and recognized that the federal government could not infringe on our right to keep and bear arms." He also said, "Today's decision, which applies to the states and the Ninth Circuit, ensures that the fundamental freedoms affirmed in Heller are not just limited to residents of Washington, D.C. And now, back to you, Brent.
Thanks, Krista. Last week, gun owners, veterans, and many others were incensed by a report released by the Department of Homeland Security that identified broad categories of people as potential terror threats based on their political beliefs, including a support for the Second Amendment. The report, entitled Right-Wing Extremism, Current Economic and Political Climate Fueling Resurgence in Radicalization and Recruitment, was started in 2008, completed, and released recently. Its purpose was to highlight right-wing extremists who may be planning acts of violence. But the inclusion of groups as potential threats based simply on their political views has created a significant backlash. In one passage, the report stated the possible passage of new restrictions on firearms and the return of military veterans facing significant challenges reintegrating into their communities could lead to the potential emergence of terrorist groups or lone wolf extremists capable of carrying out violent attacks. The report went on. Proposed imposition of firearms restrictions and weapon bans likely would attract new members into the ranks of right-wing extremist groups, as well as potentially spur some of them to begin planning and training for violence against the government. The high volume of purchases and stockpiling of weapons and ammunition by right-wing extremists in anticipation of restrictions and bans in some parts of the country continue to be a primary concern to law enforcement. In other words, DHS is concerned that people are buying firearms and ammunition out of concern that the administration will live up to its campaign promises. How insulting is it to claim that gun owners can't be trusted to oppose gun restrictions without turning to violence? The report's characterization of so many groups of Americans as potential terrorists based on their legitimate political beliefs is an outrageous attack on free political discourse in America. DHS Secretary Janet Napolitano has now apologized, as she should have, for the inclusion of returning veterans in the list of potential threats. But she has yet to make any apology to the millions of law-abiding American gun owners who have also been unjustly maligned. For more on these stories and up-to-date legislative alerts, please visit our website at www.nraila.org.